Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening, everyone. First tonight, the jury in the Jack Sadler murder trial began deliberations this afternoon after hearing evidence over the past 2 weeks. For the details, let's cross to reporter Letitia Wallace, who's outside the Launceston Supreme Court. Letitia, has the jury reached a verdict tonight?
Good evening, Kim. After 4 hours this afternoon, the jury hasn't yet reached a verdict, deciding to call it a night and come back tomorrow. Jack Harrison Vincent Sadler is accused of shooting dead his former friend Jake Anderson Bretner in August 2018. The 11-day trial has heard from dozens of witnesses, including Mr Sadler, who took the stand on Monday, where he told the jury a Victorian drug dealer had killed Mr Anderson Bretner. While Mr Sadler has denied pulling the trigger, he has admitted to dismembering his victim before dumping parts of his body into wheelie bins across Launceston. Justice Robert Pearce told the jurors this morning in his closing remarks not to let emotions get in the way when sifting through the evidence. And Kim, the jurors will return to court in the morning at 9:15 to continue deliberating.
Okay, thank you very much there, Letitia Wallace, outside the Launceston Supreme Court. Tasmania's new cabinet has been sworn in, with MPs officially accepting their roles within government. But the Premier made it clear he has no interest in a former colleague's political ambitions as Sue Hickey unveils plans of return to local government.
A team handpicked by the Premier, most of the faces the same, now with new responsibilities.
It now remains for the members of the new ministry to be sworn into office.
Peter Garwin sworn in with a signature and an elbow bump. While Jeremy Rockcliffe officially signed on to tackle the health crisis and a raft of other responsibilities.
The offices of Deputy Premier, Minister for Health, Minister for Mental Health and Wellbeing, Minister for Community Services and Development, and Minister for Advanced Manufacturing and Defence Industries.
Each minister assigned between 3 and 5 portfolios, the government then lining up for a few happy snaps.
And a couple of cheerful pictures would be good.
Success for a government is to deliver what you said that you would do. That's exactly what I want to see occur.
Before heading down the road and getting down to business.
This is the first cabinet meeting of the new Gutwein government. We'll get on with our 100-day plan beginning today.
Uninterested in the political ambitions of a former colleague.
Look, I spare very little time thinking about Miss Hickey.
Liberal Speaker turned independent Sue Hickey turning her attention to local politics. Running for Glenorchy Mayor, the position left empty by Christy Johnston.
I still belong in politics. I still need a platform to assist the people in this community who are so desperately in need of a good connection to government services.
Up against her former advisor and acting mayor, Beck Thomas.
She's young, she's ambitious, and she's very enthusiastic. But I do think in this case I have a greater depth of qualifications, experience and ability.
In a statement, Ms Thomas says she's focused on getting on with the job rather than media. Meg Sides, 7 Tasmania News.
Tasmania's 5-year duck with Test cricket is finally coming to an end, with Hobart locking in Australia's first ever Test match against Afghanistan. Tim Payne says he'll be proud to lead the national side in front of a home crowd, but cricket bosses deny local fans face more pressure to show up.
In Belrieve's 32 years of hosting Test cricket, we've never had a longer spell between fixtures than this.
When my career is done and dusted, I think this is going to be a moment that I hold right up there.
Fielding questions ahead of the historic clash, Tim Payne says Afghanistan is no dead rubber, being the only red ball cricket leading into the big one.
It's going to be a really important test match to set us up for the Ashes.
But after just 17,000 witnessed Tasmania's last test in 2016, attention could again be on attendance. Although cricket bosses refute the idea, Tasmanians are judged any harsher than those interstate.
I don't think it's the only venue that's judged through that prism. It's really important that we're making international cricket, the heroes of the world game, available for as many people right across the country to see.
Afghanistan's star spinner Qaisar Ahmed is familiar to local fans, having played 2 seasons with the Hobart Hurricanes. His national team has only been playing Test cricket since 2018.
In 30 years' time, potentially when Afghanistan is #1 in the world, you can say I went to the first ever test that they played against Australia.
While Tim Payne has memories of another Belrive moment.
It's not a great memory, but I do remember Ricky getting a pair against Pakistan. So I'll be trying to get a run just so I can better him from that one.
Tasmania will also host an ODI against New Zealand in February. Tom Johnson, 7 Tasmania News.
The controversial Mount Wellington cable car proposal has taken a major step forward. The proponent's development application has finally been accepted by Council after 2 years of back and forth. The updated plans include 2 new pieces of information, a bushfire plan and an Aboriginal archaeological survey.
I think the first proposal was in 1904, so clearly this is the furthest this proposal has ever progressed, and we think that the time's right.
This is literally step one. They've finally got a legitimate DA before the council that the council has accepted. Everything before this has been just puff and bluster, spin and glossy photographs.
Tasmanians will now get to have their say on the project, with the plans released for public consultation on Monday. Initial investigations have begun into a fire on board an Australian Antarctic ship. The blaze erupted on the MPV Everest while at sea last month, en route to dock in Hobart. Crews responded after flames were spotted spewing from the engine room after a routine fuel transfer, damaging 2 rubber vessels and other equipment. The Transport Safety Bureau today released its preliminary report outlining the events of the day.
The ATSB's investigation will continue to examine the origin and the cause of the fire and its development, and the operation of the ship's fuel oil transfer system, including pumps, piping, alarms and automation.
A more detailed report will be released once the investigation is complete. They've battled bushwalks and saved the sick. Now the State Emergency Service is taking its staff to new heights. In a celebration of Volunteer Week, a fearless group abseiled down Tasmania's tallest building, raising awareness of the organisation's life-saving work.
Specks of orange high in the sky, our state emergency service is no stranger to challenging situations. But even after 12 years, for Bruce, abseiling down a hotel were the first.
Bypass some people that were in the rooms and making their beds and all nice and tidy.
More than 60 metres above the ground, the volunteers made their way over the edge and then down the Rest Point Tower.
About the middle way, this wind kind of came through and kind of offers a little bit of a spin. Just get adjusted to that, you're fully safe.
The daunting feat, part of Volunteer Week's Wear Orange Wednesday, encouraging everyone to don their brightest orange to thank the SES.
We have around 600 volunteers throughout the state, ranging in age from around 18 years of age up to more senior.
Knowing that you're part of a team with a community that can offer some assistance to somebody that might need it.
Last year, Tasmanian crews alone spent almost 11,000 hours responding to everything from natural disasters to accidents and rescues.
You never know when you'll need somebody to come and rescue you, like the SES, in times of flood or other emergencies. So everybody should really make sure that they recognise this day.
Several landmarks, including the casino, will now light up orange to celebrate volunteers. Michelle Wisby, 7 Tasmania News.
Taryn Thomas is free to play against Essendon after the Kangaroos successfully appealed his one-match ban. The Tasmanian had been rubbed out after this clash during Saturday's game in Launceston. Match review officers finding the collision was the result of contesting the ball and it didn't involve a reportable offence. After netting their biggest win of the season so far, the Hobart Chargers have been struck by news a star import won't be coming down under. American Kathleen Shear opting out of this season because of our quarantine rules. Although the Chargers never gave up trying to sign their adopted American, it simply became too hard.
She's decided to stay at home and look at other options in her career with her family's business. So it's very upsetting and disappointing for the entire basketball community that we won't have Kathleen Shear here for season 2021.
The good news is the Chargers finally have a win, knocking off a hapless Diamond Valley by 16 points. Perhaps less expected was their male counterparts taming what was the top-ranked team in a game boasting a 40-point opening quarter.
We sort of dropped off after quarter time. We were never going to sustain that shooting. We're learning how to win.
Hobart's victory gave the Northwest Thunder a clear run to the top of the table after thumping Diamond Valley by 22. Taryn Armstrong starred with 19 points from only 8 shots, but he could be off again after being selected in the national under-19 squad.
Goes to a training camp and hopefully if he makes the team he goes to the World Cup in Eastern Europe
later on in the year. He's playing really hard and training really hard. See where it takes him, and it's going to be great to watch that.
While star players heading elsewhere is a problem the Launceston Tornadoes are facing right now. Killy Frolling will miss the next 4 games for a stint in Europe, but Kelsey Griffin comes into the side. Frolling will be missed though after netting a jaw-dropping 52 points on the weekend.
She's really hard to guard now. She can shoot off the bounce, contested from the 3. She's doing really well.
Hobart plays Dandenong and Sandringham this round, while the Tawns and Thunder are up against Eltham and Kilsyth.
And there were 2 high-scoring contests in Premier League hockey overnight. OHA and Canterbury played out the competition's first draw after 27 matches this year. The sides ended up locked on 3 goals apiece, while 4 goals to Madison Brooks tied up a convincing 7-2 win for OHA in the women's game against Canterbury. Now, Kim, this is rare, but something I won't be wearing. Don't ask me why I have it, but bring on Afghanistan in November, although it might be needing a bit of a wash, I think.
Good evening. 15 degrees today in Hobart. Launceston had a top of 16 degrees, 15 also in Burnie and Devonport. Around Tasmania, 18 was the maximum temperature for friendly beaches, 17 degrees at Eddystone Point, Fingal, St Helens, Campania and Strawn, 16 for Grove and the Bass Strait Islands, with 15 degrees for Cressy, Lowhead, Scottsdale and Wynyard. Cloudy conditions across Tasmania today, those dark clouds bringing some showers in the north. Further out shows 2 frontal bands over the Bight moving towards the state. Low cloud over southwest WA and northern Queensland with the clear conditions for the remainder. Tomorrow the front moves over Tasmania, the high dominant over the mainland. Northwesterly winds in the south 30 to 40 knots, turning westerly early on. Northwesterly winds for the remainder 20 to 30 knots, turning west to southwesterly later before easing. Seas between 1 and 2 metres higher through the north. A few warnings. There's a gale warning for southern and western coastal waters and a strong wind warning for all remaining coastal waters. 16 degrees tomorrow in Hobart, morning showers there, 14 at Cygnet, 15 for New Norfolk. Early showers in Launceston, 17, 15 for Devonport, Campbelltown 14. 15 in showers in Burnie and Smithton, 14 degrees at Strawn, with 18 in showers clearing for St Helens, 16 at Swansea and Fingal. A fine day expected on Friday, some light showers in the southwest, morning frost expected for some parts, some light showers about the north and the southwest on Saturday, otherwise fine, with a fine and partly cloudy day for most districts on Sunday. Around Australia tomorrow, 25 degrees and sunny in Perth, 21 in Adelaide, 17 in showers for Melbourne, Canberra a top of 16 and a sunny 22 degrees in Sydney. And there's a few clouds about this evening, 15 in Hobart, 12 in Launceston and 14 in Devonport. Thanks for having me here this week, Kim. I hope you aren't missing Murph too much.
How much is too much, you'd have to say. Thanks, Sam. See you next week. And that's your news for now. I'll be back later with updates. Thanks for joining us this evening. On behalf of the team, good night.